Ever feel like you're in a constant battle, like in your day-to-day life, work, relationships, just trying to get things done?
It's a universal struggle, isn't it?
Feels like it sometimes.
Yeah.
But, we're tapping into some ancient wisdom today to help us navigate those battles. We're diving into The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Ah, the art of war. It's not just some dusty old military manual. It's the oldest one in the world, and it's had a huge influence. Leaders, strategists, even business folks, they all find something in it.
Okay, but we're not talking about, like, actual warfare here, are we? I mean, I hope not.
No, no, not literal battles. It's more about applying those principles to the fights we face every day in the modern world. Think of it like a guide to strategic thinking, getting an edge no matter what the situation is.
So, like, Sun Tzu's ideas about deception and self-knowledge, they work in the boardroom just as well as they did on an ancient battlefield.
Exactly. And understanding your environment, too. That's key. But where does Sun Tzu even start with all this?
Yeah, where does he begin? Laying down the law right from the start.
You could say that. He outlines 5 fundamental factors that always matter in a conflict, calls them the 5 constant factors.
5 constant factors. It sounds kind of like a recipe, doesn't it?
Whew.
What are the ingredients for winning, I guess?
Well, first up is moral law. Now, that might sound a bit heavy, but it's about shared values and trust, really.
So, like, everyone's on the same page, working towards the same goal.
You got it. Like a company with a strong mission statement, everyone knows the values, everyone trusts each other, everyone's aligned. That's your moral law in 2025.
So it's not about morality in, like, a traditional sense. It's about alignment, unity, common purpose.
Precisely. Now, the second factor is heaven. And for Sun Tzu, this meant timing, picking the right moment.
Oh, timing is everything. Makes total sense, even now.
Right. Say you're launching a new app. You look at download trends for similar apps, figure out when's the best time to release yours to get the most users. That's understanding heaven, in a way.
Or even, like, asking your boss for a raise. You got to pick the right time, read the room.
Exactly. It's about understanding the bigger picture, the context, and making your move at the right time. Okay, next on the list, Earth.
Earth. So we're talking about terrain, geography, that sort of thing.
More than that, it's about understanding the whole environment you're operating in.
So for us, Earth could be our industry, right? Or, like, our social network, the political climate even.
Absolutely. Even your own strengths and weaknesses. It's about knowing the landscape, knowing where you fit in. Are you a tiny startup going against a huge company? Are you an introvert at a networking event? You got to know your Earth to play the game right.
Man, this is getting pretty practical. I'm starting to see how this ancient stuff applies to, like, everyday life.
That's the beauty of it. Okay, ready for the last 2 ingredients in our Sun Tzu cake.
Hit me with them.
Number 4 is the commander. This one's all about leadership qualities.
Okay, what makes a good commander in Sun Tzu's book? Someone who's, like, super strict and scary.
Not quite. He talks about wisdom, sincerity, benevolence. Even courage and strictness, yes, but it's more nuanced than just being a drill sergeant.
So it's a balance of those qualities.
Yeah.
But, like, are these things we should all try to cultivate, even if we're not leading an army?
They definitely help you make better decisions, lead more effectively no matter what you're doing. And self-awareness, that's huge E here. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses makes you a better commander, even if you're just commanding your own life choices.
There's that self-awareness thing again. Knowing yourself, knowing your environment. Sun Tzu's big on understanding both what's inside and what's outside, huh?
Absolutely. Okay, last but not least, we have method and discipline.
Oh, organization. In 2025, just staying organized can feel like a battle sometimes.
Tell me about it. But this is about more than just tidy desks. It's about having a clear plan, breaking down goals into steps you can actually take, and then sticking to it. Discipline, focus. That's what method and discipline means in our world.
So we've got our 5 constant factors: moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, and method and discipline. It's like Sun Tzu's giving us a framework, right? A way to assess analyze situation and make smart decisions. But what happens next? How do we actually put these factors into play?
Well, now things get really interesting. One of Sun Tzu's big ideas is that the best outcome is to win without even fighting.
Wait, win without fighting? How is that even possible?
It's not about avoiding conflict completely. It's more like
Oh.
being so strategic that your opponent just gives up before things even get started.
Okay, so outsmarting them, making them realize it's not even worth fighting.
Exactly. It's like in chess when you've got your opponent cornered, they see checkmate coming, and they just resign.
I get it. So what's an example of this in, like, real life?
Sun Tzu talks about something called balking the enemy's plans.
Mm-hmm.
In today's world, that could be like anticipating what your competition is going to do.
So like staying one step ahead.
Exactly. Say you own a small business and you hear a big chain store is coming to town.
Oh, that's scary.
Right. But instead of panicking, you use that info to your advantage. You change up your marketing, emphasize what makes you unique, offer loyalty programs to your existing customers.
So you're not fighting them head on. You're making yourself more appealing to your target market.
You got it. You're making it less likely that customers will even switch to the competition in the first place.
Smart. What other ways does Sun Tzu talk about, like winning without a fight?
He mentions preventing the junction of the enemy's forces. Think of it like breaking up alliances that could threaten you.
Okay, so if you see two competitors teaming up, you find a way to, like, drive a wedge between them.
Exactly. You play up their individual strengths, highlight why they'd be better off on their own. It's all about disrupting their game plan.
This is starting to feel like a game of strategy, like high-stakes chess.
That's a great way to put it. And then Sun Tzu talks about actually attacking the enemy's army in the field, but he says that direct competition should be a last resort.
So it's not that you never fight, it's that you choose your battles.
Right. You exhaust all your other options first. And even then, Sun Tzu emphasizes using deception.
Deception. That sounds kind of, well, sneaky.
It's not about being unethical or anything. Sun Tzu's idea of deception is more about strategy, creating a perception that helps you. It's like a magician, right? They use illusions, but they're not lying. They're just playing with our perception.
Okay, so how do we use deception ethically? Like, say, in a business negotiation.
You could start by presenting a more conservative offer than you actually want. It makes you seem weaker, but it gives you a chance to learn about your opponent's position.
So you're gathering intel, kind of feeling them out.
Exactly. Then, as things progress, you can start to reveal your strengths and make bolder moves. It throws them off guard, gives you an advantage.
I like it. So it's about managing expectations, not showing all your cards right away, kind of like poker.
Exactly. Another example is surprise product launches. You could hype up a new phone with one main feature, but secretly it has this whole other groundbreaking feature that you only reveal at the launch.
Oh, that's clever. Creates a buzz, gives you an edge over the competition.
It's all about thinking strategically. That's what makes the art of war so relevant, even today. Those principles are timeless because they tap into human nature, how we deal with conflict and competition.
And speaking of that, there's another point Sun Tzu keeps coming back to. Knowing yourself and your enemy.
He's really big on self-awareness, isn't he?
Big time. But knowing yourself, that's a lifelong process, right? How do we even begin to, like, really get to know ourselves that deeply?
That's a fantastic question, and it takes us to a really fascinating part of Sun Tzu's teachings. He doesn't just give us a set of rules or tactics. He's trying to teach us a mindset, a way of being in the world that's both strategic and adaptable.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What does that look like, practically speaking? What kind of mindset are we talking about?
He talks about being like water. Remember that image we talked about before?
Right, water flowing around obstacles, always finding a way, but never losing its essence.
Exactly. But how do we actually live that way? How do we become like water in our everyday lives?
It's a great question. And that's where the challenge and the fun really begins. It's about taking these ideas, these ancient principles, and making them work for you in your life.
Okay, so there's no like one-size-fits-all answer. We got to take Sun Tzu's wisdom and kind of tailor it to our own situation.
You got it. There's no magic formula. It's about adapting to your own battlefield, whatever that looks like for you.
But how do we even start doing that? It all sounds kind of abstract, you know?
Well, a good place to start is by asking yourself some key questions. Let's say you're facing a tough situation at work, like you're dealing with a difficult coworker, or you're trying to get funding for a new project. Think about those 5 constant factors. Which one feels most relevant to this situation?
Okay, so figure out which principle applies. Like, is it moral law or maybe heaven?
Exactly. Maybe you need to get everyone on board with a shared goal, or maybe you're just waiting for the right time to make your move. And then there's deception. How can we use that ethically to gain an advantage? Yeah, how did we use deception without, like, being shady?
Let's say you're trying to pitch that new project to your boss. Instead of hitting them with everything all at once, try revealing your ideas gradually. Like, plant some seeds, casually mention the concept, see what they think.
So you're getting their feedback, building up to the big reveal.
Exactly. Then, when you do present the full proposal, it's already got their input, it addresses their concerns, it's strategic, but it's not manipulative.
I see. It's like you're subtly leading them down a path toward the outcome you want.
You got it. And remember, ethical deception is about presenting information in a smart way, not about lying or twisting the truth. It's about knowing your audience and tailoring your approach to fit them.
This is making me think about how I handle challenges in my own life. Do I just charge in with a plan? Or do I take a step back, observe the situation, maybe try a more strategic approach? Sun Tzu seems to be all about careful planning and thoughtful action.
That's the heart of the art of war, absolutely. Thinking ahead, looking at all the angles, choosing your moves carefully. It's like every interaction, every challenge is a chance to be strategic.
Man, this gave me a whole new perspective. It's
Yeah.
like we have more control than we think. We can use these ideas to be more strategic, more adaptable, and ultimately more successful no matter what our goals are.
And that's what makes Sun Tzu's work so powerful, so timeless. It's not just about winning battles, it's about navigating life's challenges with wisdom, strategy, and a deep understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
We keep coming back to this idea of self-knowledge, but it's a journey, right? How do we keep digging deeper, keep learning more about ourselves?
That's a great question. And it leads us to another fascinating aspect of Sun Tzu's teachings. He's not just giving us rules to follow, he's encouraging us to cultivate a certain mindset.
A mindset. Okay, I'm curious. What kind of mindset are we talking about here?
Well, he uses this beautiful image, being like water. Remember we talked about that earlier?
Yeah, the way water flows around obstacles, finds the path of least resistance, but never loses its essential nature.
Exactly. And in a world that's constantly changing, that's more important than ever.
So in 2025, with technology changing so fast, with everything moving at warp speed, we got to be adaptable or we'll get left behind.
Exactly. Being like water means being flexible, being resilient. It's about being able to change course when you need to without losing sight of your ultimate goals.
So it's about constantly assessing the situation, reassessing your goals, even your own beliefs, and being open to change without losing your sense of purpose.
You got it. It's a constant process of learning and adaptation.
That makes sense. It's not about having a perfect plan from the start. It's about being willing to experiment, to make adjustments along the way.
Exactly. And remember, even setbacks can be valuable lessons. They can help us grow. In fact, Sun Tzu saw setbacks as opportunities to turn misfortune into advantage.
Wow, that's a really powerful way to look at it. It takes the pressure off, It's not about being perfect. It's about learning and adapting as we go.
That's the beauty of it. The more adaptable we are, the more resilient we become, the more creative we can be, and ultimately, the more likely we are to achieve our goals.
So there you have it, folks. The timeless wisdom of the art of war boiled down to one essential principle. Be like water. Adapt, flow, find your own path to victory.
And remember, it's not about memorizing Sun Tzu's words. It's about taking those principles and making them your own. As the world changes around you, let your strategies evolve. Stay curious, stay strategic, and above all, stay adaptable.
This deep dive has been incredible, and I know I'm walking away with a whole new toolkit for facing life's challenges. So until next time, stay curious, stay strategic, and keep flowing like water.